looks like it worked. In this setup, sometimes, quite often, especially if you're not on it every day, the systems and all the things you rely on, or that I'm relying on, sometimes there's glitches, and they can really throw you off your game. And so it's really hard to stay focused. I prepared to do this video several minutes ago, actually, almost 45 minutes ago now. And I'd set up some text, and I thought I knew it, and then something glitched, and it was gone. It said you can schedule it, but all the work I'd done previous was gone. I've had this happen several times. Thought I'd just mention it because I know some of you out there are in the DevOps field and you know how to resolve some of these things for us. I'd like to change the camera and everything to get better, but if I do, it literally goes off. So hopefully you can hear me. There's a fan going down here. I'll just turn that off. Oh yeah. Wow, that's pretty loud. I've left all the live stream chat stuff open. I'm going to keep doing that because we never know when things can get active, okay? So in Boy Scouts, they say be prepared. I've had a very, very intense, I'd say, several weeks. And last week has been intense in a different way and in a good way. And at the same time, an even worse way. We'll see what I can do to explain. I guess, first of all, I felt a little almost like obliged to come back online and do some videos because I haven't done them in a long time. And a lot of times they just ramble on the same old stuff. And yet I can't seem to stop doing it. I heard some TED Talks tonight. I'm going to forget the first thought that I started with, you know that. And they were on sustainable buildings, growing your own home. Basically, a bunch of videos that really touch close to my heart and to home where I live right now. In the mythologies, the heuristics, the paradigms of thought that some of these great speakers are expressing, it gave me a lot of encouragement. And I got inspired because of that. And this is where it comes back to the first thought. The icing on the cake was I just recently was gifted, I'll say. I went out with a budget that realistically couldn't have gotten me anywhere near where I wanted to be. But I did a lot of research on it. My legs are bad. I had an accident with my mountain bike. I learned a lot of lessons from that. Sometimes falling down can be a good thing. And this time I'm looking at it totally different. And the appreciation level. I mean, a week ago, I could barely walk without a lot of pain. Like it hurt every fucking step. It was getting so bad it was going up into my hip. Now, recently, I've been riding on my e-bike with weight on the bike. Average 17 to 20 odd kilometers a day. I've done last check, it was over 100. No, sorry. Yeah, over 250 kilometers. I think it worked out to like 150 miles. The reason I remember is because I was part of I am part of the Surface 604 chat group where people with that particular bike share the knowledge and the experiences they're having. And you can only be part of the group if you actually own one of the bikes or have made a commitment to purchase. Okay, like you've got it on order. As soon as I got the bike, the group showed up. All kinds of really, really good stuff. I mean, there's been a number of problems that I've had to deal with that would have really put a damper on the way I'm feeling. Because on the one hand, I'm feeling elated and incredibly grateful, appreciative, and a little bit surprised, and at the same time in awe, which I guess is much the same thing, I guess. Um, from the sources that this opportunity came to get me back my legs, I'll say, I realized the generosity and the sacrifice at the same time everyone makes. I'm starting to learn the value of money and how it relates to energy. We might have the mathematics a little bit off balance somewhere, but it's close enough to give approximation, just like everything in life. So now I've got my little philosophical rant out of the way. Shout out to Cat Wolf. I'm dying to call you Dave, Holy Walker. I feel like there's so much to discuss, At the same time, I guess we kind of are, in a way, just by what we do each day, right? So, though on camera, I'm going to still be smoking like crazy for a little while yet. Someone in the family recently had blood clots in their lungs and arm, hospitalized, serious condition. It's got me really anxious. It's someone very, very close to me. These things get scary. I find no matter how old I get or how much I learn, it doesn't take away the sting. This leads me to what I was talking about with the TED Talks I was listening to just prior to starting this video. They're all on sustainable living. Start off with bicycles and e-bikes and how they can help people. I was a big, I don't know. But when I got my mountain bike, I found, okay, in the winter, there's a lot of sitting for what I do and where I am. I sit a lot in one spot, and my legs basically aren't used except to go to the bathroom and back, okay? And then come the summer, I'm having a hard time getting going. And a guy here on the property recommended, well, just right. He was joking, I'm sure, just like my brother when he said, watch the garden grow. He says, get on a bike. So I did. 3 days later, my back was clearing up. And by a week, my legs, everything, I was doing really good. Next thing you know, I'm riding up and down the mountain on an e-bike. Not an e-bike, a mountain bike. I'm doing it. I mean, it's only a year and a half ago or so I was doing it. And I was doing 18 to 20 kilometers in a day, no problem. And then I got a little cocky and I pushed too hard, too fast. I tried breaking a speed limit on my bicycle. I managed to pedal up to 47 kilometers an hour on my mountain bike. Yeah, that was great. A few hours later, I actually passed out from exhaustion. Fell over and cracked both knees because my feet got jammed under something. And when I went back, it's a little hard to explain. Basically, when your knee just bends back too far and it's not supposed to? Ouch. Both of them at the same time. Wake up, I'm not sure. It might have been 10 minutes, 2 hours. I really don't know. I got no clocks in the area other than the computer. And I woke up, I thought I was in a warm bathtub. So I tried moving my legs. Oh, it took me 10 minutes to get 20 feet into my bed and lay down. I had my tablet there and I was going to call family or 911. I was a little anxious. It's like, oh shit. Well, I laid there for, oh my God, I don't know how long. It was quite some time. And there's noticeable improvement. My legs started working a bit. I thought, all right, just keep going. If I go in the hospital, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying, sometimes you get these injuries, and because we have to get going and do something that someone is expecting of us, supposedly, we'll push the limits, and we don't give our body enough time to heal. And shortly after the accident, I'll call it, I saw a video. If you see this, Jordan, you rock, brother. I got you online right now. Flirting with the nurses, you fucking old dog, you. Just pardon me for a minute. Okay, one of my friends that's in the hospital just got a hold of me there, and we're lined up to go visit tomorrow. So I'll be getting on my bike a little early in the morning and heading over to the hospital. And I just discovered I got a big cut on the back of my leg. Wow. The things you get when you don't know what you're doing. Kind of lost the flow of my thought. That's where if you got someone else doing the video with you, they can bring you back each time. It's a lot harder when you got to do it on your own. And I'm looking forward to getting back with a team where we were doing this on radio. I think we could do the same thing on video. Just have our discussions and let's talk about the things we learn. Because, okay, it's one thing going from like a TED Talk, but then that TED Talk, how many people are actually going to ever see it? If what we do or I do, or people in my little circle, if you will, of developers, if we reach only a handful of people, that's people we know. You got a vested interest in it. You're going to give it your all. Like a old friend that I'm hoping is still around, Miss DeVita. He said to me, the things seen cannot be unseen. For some reason that stuck with me and has a lot of meaning to me. Shared a lot of really good experiences online with a number of developers. At the time, I didn't even know what was going on. It's only now I'm just starting to understand what the hell that was all about. I remember they said there'll be a time when we gotta become public. Well, hopefully a lot of us won't ever have to do that. There's a lot out there already taking that lead, and every bit of work we do, I think, when you talk about on a need-to-know basis, like every one of us, I'm sure there are a few, and I know who you are already. When you see this, you know what we're talking about. It's like there's only one link away from making it happen. And if you don't do your job, it doesn't fucking happen. And you know it. Like, you absolutely know it. You don't have these moments of doubt. It's just, oh, shit, look at how things just lined up there. Oh, fuck. You get nervous as hell. All you got to do is click a button. And you'll sit there stewing on it sometimes for hours. I mean, I've talked to others out there that have. Kate of Gay, I think, made a point of that when we were out at the reserve. Keith, the guy. You guys know who I'm talking about. Which, by the way, if you're out there, Keith, Kate, whatever gender you want to be referred to as, peace, brother. It's great working with you, actually. Quite an experience. If we want to transition our world, if we want to see Let's forget what I just said in transition of the road. If we want to see and experience a better place, there's a lot of questions to ask. Is it money? Blah, 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 blah. First, I think we need to analyze our own imaginings, our own imagination of possibility. There's the possibility, and then those out there that have a good knowledge of physics and the reality of things, like for anyone that's watched a garden grow for years, you're going to have a different perspective, obviously, than someone that says, yeah, I tend to this garden. You can be working on something all the time and not see what it's about. Never ever notice the insects or the population of bioactivity in the soil, or even the texture of it, or the smell of it, even the taste of it, the feel of it on your feet. See, as we get to know the soil and the ground, and we look at all the ways that we build right now, like architecture hasn't changed in how many years? And by the way, I'm borrowing a lot of material right now in this discussion from the TED Talks, and I did save them into a playlist. I just can't remember where I put it, but it is in my YouTube playlist, and it is public, so it is there. You'll be able to get the reference. You'll see there's a whole shitload of them. It's all in nature, growing homes, the transition using bicycles, helping people get more active on their feet, using the bicycle. And when you do that, all these different things they start to notice about the environment and about the way cars are and the property management stuff. There's a lot of things here. I'm just using a couple of trigger points because I know that based on what I heard from the TED Talks, what I'm saying right now will trigger a shitload of other people that already get it. Oh, okay. We want those kind of people to all link in. We want to create a town, a village, a community, whether online or in reality or both, hopefully both eventually, where we're all real-time developers. We're not here to blame or to point fingers. What we're here for is to find solutions. Look, I got all these problems with my e-bike, okay? There's a shitload of them, okay? And everyone that's got one has them. But so do you do, no matter what bike you get brand new, you're going to have that, okay? And we took that chance when we bought it. Now I could be bitching and say, oh, warranty, blah, blah, blah. No, if there's problems you can fix yourself, do it. But get online, collaborate, share that knowledge. The manufacturer gets it, and they're not feeling like they're beaten up or pressured. Because these guys, if you're in that position, I know I've been there before. You want to do the best and provide that best fucking product you can. Something drove you to that point where you wanted to, and most of us, it wasn't for money. Money corrupted it in the end. And that's why I chose to bail out. I jumped ship on that one. So in these talks, trying to bring this all back together, there was I'm still concatenating some of the different thoughts that were presented. If it wasn't for copyright stuff, I think I would try pulling up them videos and just putting it on screen. But that's cheating. Okay, this one guy is saying, okay, our house is all breaking down. He shows some really cool clips. He's got some good comedy in it. I invite you to check out the playlist. In fact, after this, what I'll do is I'll try and find it and put it into the chat box. I do it right now while I'm talking, but I'm only doing the video because I got to get this shit out. I promised in the beginning that I would do appropriate updates when necessary, and I feel that I've let it go too long. And there's a lot of details that have happened over the last several weeks. Might even be over a month or two now. I'm not sure. since I've done any live broadcast. And with getting the bike and all the generosity everyone's shown me for quite a while now, maybe forever, but never realized it. I realize we're all in the boat together, and they must have something they believe in me to grant me some of these opportunities. Because left on my own, I think everyone agrees I'd either be dead or in jail for life. Either option just seems icky to me. I know there's people out there that, if they've seen the situation I'm living in, would say I prefer death or jail over what I've got. Well, that's where this growing your own home and the transitional process of finding your way on that journey back to nature. I'm going to postulate here and leave it open for argument for anyone that wishes that nature's laws are the only ones that will work for us, that will net us that harmony. And I think that nature's laws are absolutely perfect from what I've seen so far. Orders of magnitude beyond anything I've seen or read in any of man's written law. And yet I've seen nature's law exemplified in men and women, albeit all too rare for me. I wish it was more common, where they've exhibited the code of nature I don't even know how to express that beyond that. And hearing it out loud, it almost, that's, again, this is where it's like, all right, next time I do a video, I'm going to have to ask my friend Kat to join me as my moderator. Fucking mosquitoes. As my moderator. Get Dave on as well, because the two of them, they're like, they keep me in that little zone where they bring out the best of me online here. And right now, even I'm reflecting on some of the lessons I learned from Changing Times Radio with Kat and Patty, Holy Walker, TJ Marie, Earthship Solutions, These Changing Times. Yeah, and some of these videos they were talking about making bike paths, and I'm reflecting on the city I'm in right now. They're talking about affordable housing, and on TED Talks, like the city's talking affordable housing. All of them are, I guess. On TED Talks, they're saying about, let's rethink how we grow our home. What's if it was a living, breathing entity? And if any of you recall that have watched the Mike Reynolds videos, which I recommend everyone do, at least 2 or 3 times, because you're not going to get the sense of it. You'll see what I mean after you've done it. Just imagine a living, breathing home, something that maintains itself. I mean, it's a little far-fetched. I get where he was going on that, and it's pretty close to true. Now, I've actually built little dwellings that morph. They don't decompose. They just keep changing because you keep adding to it. And what are you adding? Well, all the weeds that are growing around the perimeter, I was using them. No kidding. I start off with straw and garbage, literally household garbage, to build a framework so I could begin it. Now, since then, I've been ordered under threat, for the record, that I have to decompile it all. And for the record, I have no intent to decompile it all. Instead, what we're going to do is grow it. Because I've already demonstrated that here in Ontario, I've been able to live outside for over 7 months from the early warming of the season to the early getting really, really, really fucking cold stuff. I think I spent 3 months indoors. So basically, over the last 3 years, I've spent over a year outside, completely outside. And most of the time when I'm here at the camp, I'm barefoot, except since sometimes you can't control what's happening around you. There's been broken glass and all kinds of nails, and forced to wear work boots. And all I want to do is create soft paths, a little garden path around my perimeter where I can go down into the forest and have access to the beauty of nature and serenity. And just now, I could hear the sounds of traffic. Now, some of you are aware I have problems with noise, big time. Large volume noises, the sharp rapport, can literally send me into a frenzy. And sustained, like chainsaws, caused me to go hysterical. And we want to talk about the decisions a person makes in life will make you happy, peaceful, and calm. Well, I've decided I want peace. So does that mean I got to put up with all the traffic that makes a lot of noise that disturbs my peace? In fact, I've had conversations as sure as how all of you have, where there's them, them guys that like to go on their motorbikes, ring, 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 right? And all of a sudden, whatever the conversation was, it's broken to shit. It's not very considerate, is it? Police, I've asked, they said there's not much they can do about it unless, well, they didn't say unless anything. They said that's just the law. I got to say, they're very professional about how they told me, no, you can't, but yes, you can. So, shout out to the officers in Niagara that were at the park there that day. It's funny because of my record with you guys. Yeah, never mind. It's all good. I think we're going to see a lot of changes in the world very rapidly. One of the other TED Talks I listened to in that same group was a guy that teaches people wilderness skills. He takes people out, he charges a lot of money too, and teaches them how to secure water, blah, 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 blah. And it's not an easy thing. I mean, some of these guys had to go 24 hours before their survival instinct kicked in. Some of them even longer. Some of them couldn't finish the project and had to go home. Some of them broke down crying. If you watch a video, know what I mean. One guy was so scared shitless of the dark. I couldn't stop laughing. I remember the first few times I slept out here in the dark, I realized it's not that dark. It's not dark at all. In fact, it's darker if I go in the house and close everything. But I can't breathe in there. That's right. But what are the lights you see? Well, there's man-made one down there. Okay, so where the man-made lights were, I put things inside my abode to block off the man-made light. So all I got was nature's light. Whoa. You know what it's like lying down with a nice light breeze this time of year, just blowing over you? No mosquitoes, no bugs, and just breathing the fresh air. Hearing the moonlight, feeling the text. Oh my God. It just started raining. No rain in the forecast tonight. It just started raining. Oh, that's a special time for me when it rains. Yeah, a few updates. Remember, you're going to have to do video clips of this because I'm going to be all over the place, as you know. and I probably won't do another one for a little while yet. Try and update on as much as possible. The camp, we've kind of basically run out of water. So we're getting it from the neighbor at double the price of what. You know what? I don't know all the details of how the landlord's doing this, but it's kind of, I don't know. Maybe someone else knows. I'm not going to presume anything. The fact is, I need to get it from his well here after he gets it from the neighbor, goes into there and then pumps out, and I pump it all the way back here. It's a big pain in the ass for everyone, but there's something to this, okay? Maybe forget all the other logistics. How hard is it to get water? And right now, because there's not enough rainfall, our cistern is not being filled. Even the well over here isn't enough to keep up because ground level water has gone so low. So we're having to import water. Every one of you turn on that tap. Do you realize the ground isn't producing enough to keep up with your usage? Yeah, when my brother told me to watch the garden grow, I did. I have all the time in the world, so I've literally sat for weeks, months, years almost now, watching it grow, day by day, moment by moment, hour by hour, sometimes several hours at a time, literally without moving other than to get up, take a piss, grab a beer. Watch insects come and go, I watch the leaves, and then I watch the nighttime, and I watch how water crystals or water droplets start forming on the very hairs and the ends of many of the plants. And close to the ground, how it gets really moist. I started watching where the ground turns moist at night and then goes dry in the day. And what? Hear that drip? I don't know if you can hear it, the drip, drip, drip. That represents the amount of water we collected from the roof. Not enough to fill a cup of coffee yet. Now, I personally have gone all out recently and collected about 50 odd, about 50, no, it wouldn't, 30, 55-gallon drums half full. So what's that? About 20, 24, 25 liters. Then I got a couple of buckets, plus I watered the garden a tiny bit. So I'm going to say 50 or 60 liters or gallons of water. And it's the first time since March 9th I've had to collect water from the landlord. And I felt a little, in a way, I do. I actually feel a little bit ashamed that I wasn't able to budget my water usage earlier. I was quite liberal with it, and I wasn't careful enough with the rainwater I collected to keep it from getting infested with mosquitoes. And I had to keep dumping out a number of gallons of water every several days, which was quite wasteful. On the plus side, I did use it for washing before I did that, but then mosquito larvae for washing, you wonder, right? Like, it can't be the best. So now when it rains, I want to be really careful. I've got blankets to put over the containers. I've moved them out of the sun. I want to keep that water pristine, and I'm using it to try and cool my abode as well. So the more of that I can get buffered around, the better, until the winter, in which case that might be counterproductive. But we'll deal with the winter when it comes. And then I noticed, okay, hang on, two different thoughts here. Okay, for to keep the floor cool, a lot of times I'll pick the long grasses and weeds that are growing around the property here. I pick them from the area that would be normally mowed down anyway. Okay, and I take that and I use that to line my flooring. Now it keeps mulching up to nothing. Every now and then I got to pull it out if it gets too wet, because it begins to smell like horse manure, quite literally. And then I use that in the garden. And what I'm getting is these layers building up of different things, kind of a rotational pattern from stuff coming in slowly and being redistributed. So the idea is a zero waste environment. And it's a little bit difficult because I've got these challenges of, all right, it's a lot difficult because of the challenges of other people's views, opinions, expectations, um, and literally threats. When you know in your heart that something can be done, should be done, has to be done, I think that's where the power of intention really comes to play. You don't need the great strategy. You need the right heart motivation. That's a tough one to address. Like, how do you know you got it or don't have it? I'd say if you got any doubt, when you're honest with yourself, in fact, sometimes being honest with myself is forcing me into situations that I would otherwise just walk away from. Like, I could do a whole fucking entire series on that. It's been really encouraging, though, these TED Talks tonight, hearing all the different players with their input about, prescription for nature. Someone that's come up with these methods, and it's not just this one person, it's a group of people, where they can literally grow these miniature abodes, if you will, and they make them glow in the dark, all kinds of stuff, using bioengineering and all the different elements. And he suggests, we grow a house, we got to incorporate all the living elements, like the fungus, the plants. And it kind of fits my dream. Like, I thought about building this dome that I had. Well, I did. I built the dome. Landlord actually pulled half of it out. So I thought, all right, we'll finish tearing it down. I just realized I'm still pretty angry about that. The idea was I was going to grow melons and stuff all over the top of it. And as the plants grew up over top of it, they provide the next layer of covering and so on, okay? I can literally grow the stuff up over the abode and make the ground come right up, like almost like creating a cave above ground where the ground comes and covers you. Perfectly sized to my own body needs. Each day, as I go and do stuff, you can maneuver the environment. Like right now, I can't go move into this. It's all, and it's square and it's solid. And where did I get my most injuries? How many injuries do you think I got from the forest, from anything that nature provided? You guys hear that? It's the rain outside falling in my buckets that I got to collect water. I might be able to drink rainwater if it keeps up again. So in riding my bike, cigarette consumption has gone in half. Literally in half at this point. It could go down a lot more once I can get on my bike for more leisurely purposes. Right now, there's a time constraint on everything, and I'm literally forced to get back and forth from different places at different times. And that takes away the element of adventure completely. Just like driving a car. But as many of these people in the TED Talks were discussing tonight, a bike-friendly city. I don't even know where to begin on that. I think I'll just introduce the idea and then we'll develop it over time. I was on a path yesterday on the e-bike. I was clipping along and I could see people quite a distance ahead because I was standing up. I seen them way before they saw me. I sat back down, slowed the bike right down, literally turned off the motor, and I got my feet just pushing it along, and I went right off the side of the trail about 40 feet ahead of them. They were all getting off to the side and they started laughing, thinking, oh, and I said, hey, this looks to me like a footpath. And the guy goes, hey, great minds think alike. It was a good feeling, that little interaction, proper respect for the trail. Now, if it was a huge wide path, it would have been a whole different story. And I tried this the other day. I used the bell on the bike, but first I yelled out in advance, coming up behind you on X side of the road or the trail on a bike. And I went really, really slow. Like, I don't do this barrel past anybody shit. I've watched other cyclists do it. I've experienced it when it's happened to me when I was on foot. And it's like, you fucking pricks. Some respect on the freaking walking path, okay? And it's just like cars on the road. Tonight, again, 2-3 cars that far from my mirrors. I could have literally put my hand out and smacked their fucking window. Probably broke my hand in the process. But that is not acceptable. And I can see why people don't want to get out there on their bikes. There's nowhere to ride in this city. You might say it's a bike friendly and got trails galore. Bull fucking shit. Walter Senzik, address the issue, please. I'll be happy to discuss any of this with you. We got a whole bike crew that, we want to see this place into a compassionate city. There's a lot of programs that can be implemented that are out there that we can become part of. We just have to know they're there, be aware of them. And I'm hoping you're doing your research. I mean, building that Olympic Park and shit, I thought was kind of stupid, and the bridge and the bike paths with the poles, that I don't know what that was about. And the gay crosswalks, I don't know. But we still got no bike infrastructure. And I know people that are struggling just to fucking hang on to their own home that they put their life, blood, and like their whole energy into. And it could be taken out from under them because they can't make the payments. That's not affordable housing. A compassionate city. Have you been into the mental ward? Any of you politicians, have you been in there? Have you been into the St. Catharines Mental Hospital part here? Just going through administration to get in. And being kidnapped to go in there. And the treatment inside at reception was, yeah, they declothe you, put you in bare feet, put you in a padded room, make you wait for hours while they're staring at you through a window. And you're doing that to the people that are mentally ill. We have need of change, okay? We're addressing these issues. We know there's things that aren't right. We also need to know that everybody that's playing in this game is on board the same ship, And sometimes when I see the things the city does, I wonder if they know what they're doing. At the same time, I wonder about the landlord. At the same time, the city doesn't know what the fuck I'm doing half the time, and the landlord is just like clueless about what I'm doing, I think. He might have an inkling, but I don't think he knows. Oh, I just heard the head of security at camp calling the White Wolf. Nico might come visit. Because usually when I hear that sound, Nico comes running in. So, if I ain't no Jordan, send him some love, my friends. I'll be going to see him tomorrow. In the meantime, we all got work to do, right? Since I've been retired, I found an occupation that takes up all my time, all my energy, everything. I wish I had more of my youth to dedicate to it. And rather than be bitter or upset or sad about it, I'm kind of emotional. Yeah, I like to take some joy in that, realizing, holy shit, I thought I was going to be dead not too long ago. In fact, I kind of wanted to be. Even now, if I think about all the bullshit that's still got to be overcome to make the world a place that is habitable, livable, sustainable, something where me as a fleshly whatever being can live in harmony with nature without conflicting, without fear, without damage, where I can bring some added value to it. And when I look at the way we do things as a human society, I don't see how that's even possible, except that I've heard other people talk about the same dream and put it into succinct terms and focused subjects that we can deal with one at a time in bit size or bite sized manner, like little cheeky nibbles on the trail, if you will, to keep your energy going without overloading you. Something easily digestible, something that becomes part of you naturally. These little insects flying around there. Very interesting. Wow, I just noticed on the screen I can add friends. I didn't know I could do that on YouTube yet. Well, okay, the icon's there, but the function isn't yet. Well, it's 11:28, Tuesday, July 12th, 2022. At the camp, we are close to out of water. We're still struggling with water issues. Everyone is. Food issues. I've got a little garden going here now. I've been doing the lasagna layering compost thing. Uh, Unfortunately, all the wood I've been using to do that, landlord wants me to take it and burn it. Um, I don't think it's responsible by just taking all the metal and any garbage a person has and throwing it out. I think it's more responsible just not bring it in the first place. And if you have got it, deal with it. Be creative and make something beautiful out of it. Now, this is what I've been working on for a while, and that's my next focus. I've got a small area I've already started. Uh, I could easily build a shelter into it, but in trying to get all the other duties and obligations in this so called system of things accomplished, it becomes difficult to dedicate time to nature when that's all I want. I mean, the ultimate would be I never have to leave the camp. This camp has the potential for to collect more than enough water for me personally. I mean, just my little area. And for each person on it, potentially, and an abundance beyond that. There are wild berries here that are being cut down. Um, a lot of the plants that I grow are considered weeds, and yet I'm using it as food. And yet I'm watching a local farmer take that same plant out of the ground as a weed and throw it away when it grows there naturally, wild, and free on its own, self seeding, and keeps on producing right up until the end of September. And tastes a little like asparagus and spinach combined, depending if you got the leaves or the stem. It cooks up in literally less than a minute in boiling water and it is so freaking delicious. In my opinion, it actually tastes better than callaloo or spinach. It's not better than asparagus, though. Asparagus is a different flavors. And yeah, it does cause your pee to stink a little bit like asparagus for some reason. So to pull up these natural weeds, like burdock too. I mean, if you've ever seen the burdock root and the stems, even the stems are actually quite delicious when they're moist. Like if you get them right now while it's really dry, not so good. But after a really super heavy rainfall, you get that burdock root out while it's still soaking wet and put it in water. And I mean rainwater, not tap water. There's a difference when you try tasting it, you'll see. You soak it for a day or two. It literally pulls clay onto it. Like it's absorbing. You can see how it's sucking minerals into it. And it takes on a really nice woody, mushroomy, earthy. Oh, I don't even know how to describe the flavor. Uh, it's a little reminiscent too of coconut, and yet it doesn't have that sweetness. But when you're chewing it, it's a lot like coconut, and you can keep chewing it like jerky or something. Okay, like if it had, say, a meaty flavor added to it, which could easily be done with mushrooms or cooking it or broth or whatever, or even spices. I could see making all kinds of tasty treats. And the cool thing is, you don't need to eat a lot of it, and you, you actually do get full. Um, when you eat the wild foods, I found psychologically you might feel hungry, but you realize after a couple of days, no, you're not. And you start realizing what real hunger is. It's when your body's craving nutrient and you know what nutrient. And what happens is you literally go to the plants that you know your body needs. I don't know how one figures that out. I don't think it's anything we're conscious of. I think it's a natural instinct when it's allowed to flourish. So, to create these perfect places, these places where people can be at peace and harmony, obviously we don't have them yet. Obviously, well, maybe we got a few of them. They're starting. I mean, right here where I am, it's kind of starting. Um, there are a lot of challenges to that. I think the key thing is start gardening, start growing, watching the garden grow, figuring out how plants can interact together. You can literally grow a meshwork, a framework using the plants. And depending on if I can get a video camera or not, hopefully I can show you some of the stuff I've done outside here, where we've made a bit of a cliff and a walkway in an area that you basically couldn't walk through at all. Now you can get through clearly. And at the same time, there's another walkway almost directly underneath of it that's literally like directly below it, not off to the side, but so we kind of brought the land out several feet. And it's all composting underneath. There's animals inhabiting it. The plants are growing through it. As the wisteria and other plants with particular root patterns grow into these different frameworks, once you understand how the roots grow of these different plants and how they work together, and I only know a handful of them now, but it's enough to get me so excited that we could literally grow anything. We can grow furniture. We can grow like you name it. And once we have that environment with the canopy, and remember, St. Catharines, compassionate city, bike friendly, Project Canopy. Project Canopy with the trees, that's only part of it, right? The canopy covers everything, all the different layers, all the different structures. And what we're doing is trying to create a more green environment. Trying to create a green environment? No. What we're doing is bringing our environment of destruction back to an area of restoration. We're going to let nature grow. We're going to slowly phase out the man-made stuff and let nature show us what it can do by living in and with it. That's what I've been trying to do here. When I got interruption from the landlord and the city, more so the landlord, but the two are basically the same thing. You're cluster fucking the project. And as an invitation to the city, including directly to Walt Senzik, you want more information on this, you want to know what I'm actually doing here, come on out and visit personally by yourself and bring a tent and a sleeping bag. and plan to spend 2 or 3 days, I'm going to take you for a little walk through and show you. We aren't going to leave the property. You need to experience it through time, and you will understand. Anyone will. Yeah, that was a big leap out beyond where I thought I'd go, but it's been on my mind for a while. I remember inviting the city officials out to St. John's. They wanted to talk about pollution and garbage, and I thought, come on, let's go out there and let's see. And it's one of the best places around. That's why I picked it. Because if we went anywhere else, there's no argument, is there? I mean, yeah. Yeah, bottom line is we got a lot of things to work on as a society. We can all put down our weapons and stop fighting. Realizing we all got to live, we all got to eat. Let's do what we can to respect each other's personal space, privacy, way of life. It's not interfering with you. Fuck off. You know what I mean? Or, I should say, if it's interfering with you, then fuck off. Like in the natural world, okay? Some people come up to your little fucking abode, right? Unannounced in the morning, they woke you up and you're like a night person, okay? So you've just gone to sleep and they wake you up. First thing you do is, what the fuck? And if they don't have a really, really good reason for being there that makes sense to you, either get off the fucking property and don't come back again, or you fucking, like, you kill them. They're invaders. In the animal kingdom, that's how it works. And I don't think humans are any different. In fact, we're stupider. We got laws, in my opinion, that are only there for the people that actually deliberately commit acts of violence. I've never seen the law exonerate or facilitate in any way the innocent. It's like they've coddled the perpetrator in every situation I've ever seen. Which maybe that's necessary, and we're all being patient, you know what I mean? Try to see the good in everything. But sometimes there are things that are just plain shitty and wrong. For example, plastic, cars, air conditioners, factories, electric bikes. Chicken wings. We're meant to partake, as the Christians say, and others of the God genre, which is the majority of people that will ever hear this. We're supposed to eat what God provides. God didn't provide dead meat. I'm talking out of my fucking hat right now because I can't speak for God. I don't know who the fuck it is. I do know this, nature itself. As I begin to look at it more and more, I start seeing that, holy shit, with just a few more additions to plants and the restoration of the soil, I can potentially see for the first time in my life a way for me, if I was allowed to just do whatever I felt was necessary without any fucking obstruction, which is like dreaming. In a couple of years, I'm pretty certain that I literally live outside 24/7, and when about 3 years, figure out a way to be completely self-sufficient. With a caveat that during that time, I'll be depending on the system to provide the missing links. See, I'm not interested in getting off the grid. Never really have been. I thought it was an expression. I didn't realize that some people are literally trying to disconnect. And yet, ironically, all they do is connect online and think they got some exclusive network because they bought some fucking VPN through this, that, or the other. It's like, whatever. I hope some of you understand what the fuck I'm talking about on that one. Oh, Dave, you got to get this onion layer. Oh, you're going to have to do this decryption stuff. Oh, put in this special code here, and that'll put you on a separate channel, and no one will. What the fuck? You got something working. Don't fuck with it. I don't know why we need several layers of Facebook. The one I've got on my desktop seems a lot different than everyone else's I've seen, but mine has only completely relevant, up-to-date information to do with what I personally am doing. Nothing else. It's finally a desktop that I've always wanted. And then YouTube provides me some of the extra channels of media, if you will. Okay. And I can interface the two of them together, no problem, on my particular system. And I think we all got these different little systems built. And no matter what we've got, there is a commonality I think we're all going to share. We need certain basics, right? Like food, water, shelter. Is the ground we walk on a basic need? Absolutely. If we don't have the land to walk on, all those other items are gone. And I don't have land to walk on. Do you know why? It's been polluted so bad that I can't wear bare feet and understand the texture of the land. Because a lot of that land is no longer natural landscape. It's been bulldozed and pushed over and moved, asphalted, paved over, driven over, salted over, chemical sprays on the fields. A total bastardization of everything fucking natural. Everything natural. And yet we got people wondering where disease came from. Well, you don't have to be no fucking rocket scientist or a DNA specialist to know. It's pretty fucking obvious to dipshit, I think. This has nothing to do with spiritual. It's completely physical. So thanks for sharing with me my frustrations this evening and my exubrations, because there are quite a few in there as well. As much as I will speak against certain technologies, I know that technology is not the enemy. The enemy is ourselves and how we use things. From the technology to nature itself. When you ride a bike, you'll understand how the car feels going uphill or downhill, how the brakes feel. You'll understand it on a more intimate level, and it becomes really personal because you're not relying on some other person's mechanical ability. It's like, oh shit, you got to worry about it yourself. You got no protection. And by the way, the helmets are a safety hazard on a bike. Since I've been wearing the helmet, I've got 2 or 3 fucking head knocks already. Normally, I don't get that many in a year. And I'm going through the forest and everything. This is on a fucking bike walking in and out of the house. In fact, I've hit my head more on car doors getting in and out of cars than I have anything else. Why don't we wear helmets in our cars? Stats show that more people get traumatic head injuries in a car than they do on bicycles. That's a fact. Look it up. Google it. And yet we enforce people to wear a helmet on a helmet off. You ride a lot different. Oh, your awareness is like 8 times higher. It's amazing what just having your head exposed to the air does to the way you can ride a bike. Your awareness goes up. The more bulk you put on, the more it goes down. When you drive a car, you got none. You can't look people in the eye as you're driving by like you can on a bike. You don't know who anyone is. Right now on a bike, I'll pull over at an intersection early and wait till it clears. I make sure I got eye contact with everyone potential, or I don't even bother going because I'm scared shitless of you crazy drivers in this city of St. Catharines, the bike-friendly city. I've only been back on the road for what? A week and a half. I've almost had 4 fucking cars hit me, basically. When you come that close, that's not just a near miss. That, to me, is a fucking violation. Oh, and by the way, for the rude drivers out there that like to do this on cyclists, just as you come up behind them, don't do that, or you're going to have a fucking lawsuit. And you know what the worst part is? These experiences happened to me on a road that I was on that was a designated bike path. The whole road, it said bike path. Like, it's just... We want people to start doing things natural, like composting, recycling, being more self-sustaining, to be, what do they call that? Carbon neutral or zero, whatever. These crazy sayings. I don't know what the fuck they mean. We have to facilitate as a city, from the top down, from the bottom up, whichever way it goes, I don't care. An easy path, a soft path, something like recycling right now, in my opinion, is so clusterfuck confusing and stupid. It makes no goddamn sense to anyone with a fucking brain. It's actually repulsive when you understand the full process of what's going on right now. However, it doesn't mean it couldn't be a better thing or a good thing. But the way it is right now, it fucking sucks. So I'm asking this. Put your comments in what you think we could do to make things better on any of the topics we talked about. How do we make a self-sustaining city? A garden city with soft paths, bicycle paths, places where people can meet and greet without being bombarded with horns and the sound of noisy tires going at 5 times the speed of pedaling. In a community where we don't have to be anywhere really quick, do we? Let's just slow the fuck down and watch what happens as things grow around us. Watch the lessons that your so-called gods are giving you. I'm talking about the creatures of the forest, the creatures of nature, from insect to wild beast, fish, bird, whatever. To me, they're all the same. The only thing different on this planet that doesn't fit is humanity's behavior. It's an abomination to all things decent, myself included. But I think we can change that. And I know I'm not alone in that. In fact, a number of the discussions I've heard online tonight were the final clincher that said, Dave, there's a few things that need to be said. In a way, it seems so obvious, it feels foolish even talking about. got so many great tools at our disposal. We don't need to make any more if we stop throwing the ones we already got away. Or if we stop throwing away the tools we already have, we have more than we need already. See, in my opinion, there's an incredible abundance out there. An incredible abundance. And it's not being used. In fact, it's being abused in favor of things that aren't natural. Like cutting down a forest to do a plantation of something else is just fucking retarded. Decimating entire regions of forest because you want to get a couple of fucking gold coins from the ground. For what? For what? We've already got all the tools and technology and machines and everything we need to cover everyone already. Stop fucking breeding, humans. Literally stop breeding. It's not that hard. Maybe you can breed later when we've got the foundation to bring real life into the world. But right now, you're just bringing more death in every time you fuck. So I want to leave you with something really positive. Ties back to what I was talking about in the beginning, the TED Talks. These people talking about growing their own homes, sustainable communities, the initiatives that are being started, things that would have brought tears to my eyes years ago if I'd have seen in the beginning. I would have had so much more confidence and done things so much more properly if I'd had that knowledge. And now it's there abundant for everyone. Just take the time to go look for it. It's there. Think about the best the world can be. Think about the best of everything being put into practice globally. You know, mythologies that work for everyone, clever heuristics. We talk about the paradigm shift. Well, that's already in progress, that part. Every moment you breathe outside, every breath is 10 times more beneficial than every breath you take inside a closed space, especially if there's other people in it. When you're outside, there is no enclosed space. It's wide open to the air. In spite of all my smoking, I guarantee, I'm certain, okay, we could even measure this if you want, but I'll bet that I get more fresh air and better quality air overall than people that drive a car every day and live indoors. And for those that say they can't move or walk, the right size bike equipped with the right equipment, we've got ways now. Think about wheelchairs. They're useless. We need people to be mobile. We need to redesign, update what we already have and make it work more efficiently for everyone. With focus on ergonomics, ease of flow. Ideally, footpaths where you can walk barefoot. Like imagine St. Catharines, the Garden City, has this garden put in where you're required to take off your shoes before walking in it. Think about it. God's holy land, as they say, the sacred ground. I've been trying to create my own spot like that here, and every time I have, suffice it to say, it's been pretty fucked up by sources beyond my control. Doesn't mean I'm going to quit. It's all I'm alive for. I have this dream of soft paths. place where you can walk barefoot, peaceful, calm, secure, without the noise. I don't think it's too much to ask for. In fact, I don't think it's something anyone should have to ask for. To the contrary, I'm asking, why isn't it there? What happened to this world? Who are the people looking after this? Who are the ones responsible? I want them to come to the table, to the court of public opinion, to discuss in front of a candid, live, worldwide audience. Uncut, unedited. Just let's get all the best on here that all know about this, and let's fucking hash it out, because something ain't right. We got things that need to be addressed, and I can't get online and say, "Hey, Mr. Mayor, you got to do this." No, it doesn't work, does it? And yet he does that to other people. At least that's the perception of virtually everyone I know. Everyone. Now with the internet, I think we've got a way for all these messages to get through to each other without causing that clusterfuck of aggravation, right? We got translators on every level. For any out there that feel like you got a lot you want to say and don't know how to say it, just hit the camera and babble. You got nothing to lose. Make sure you actually got something to say. Otherwise, you'll end up doing stuff like I do, and then most of your videos never get watched. Maybe get 3 likes in a year. Yeah, but if those 3 likes represent what you wanted to hit as a target audience, you just nailed it. So think about the best that we can be. Think about how we can do our part in our community to bring about natural changes, organic changes. Think about your fantasy of building these little forts as a kid in the forest, okay? And think about being able to do that with natural things and how you could grow plants to actually build it. Like wisteria, a powerful bonding plant. You got these big trees that create great framework. Willows that you can manipulate like crazy, okay? You just start planting them. And the vegetables that could grow over your abode and around it in a very, very small area. You could literally, it can be done. I know it can mathematically. I haven't experienced doing it to fulfillment yet, but that's what I'm talking about, part of the dream. I don't want to have this house on the hill with, how do they say it? The suburban, like, your 4 walls box, your basement. I forget what they call them now. Your semi-detached or your bungalows or whatever. Fuck, okay? I don't want that. I want it all natural. Like right now, I've got a little abode built semi-outdoors, semi-inside under a metal framework that's sheltered, but it's open to the outdoors. And I built it on a small platform with sticks. And I made another little mound, okay? This time, a lot less garbage. I used fabric, old clothing, to weave in among the sticks to hold it together. It could be pulled out in a day or two. But push come to shove, if I was allowed to, I could rebuild one outside and be living out there in a matter of weeks. And I'm frustrated that I'm not allowed to get on with what I know I can do and that I think has to be done eventually. It's just finding that right time where you know you can do it. And there's nobody going to destroy it. I've attempted this probably a dozen times now in my life. Farthest I've ever gotten on it, and I'm still getting kiboshed. Literally shut down. The sad thing is, some of them people who are shutting me down actually think they're doing me a favor. And it frustrates the living fucking hell out of me. So again, on the positive note, we can dream up our best fantasies and share our greatest excitements and our things that we find passionate, let's put together a dream world in a virtual reality online. I mean, the framework's there. We've already started. There's many of us already got the groups set up and the chat forums, the tools, the communications, the sharing, and everything else. All that's in place. Now we need you, the people, to start interacting and sharing your thoughts and stories. Now, in the early stages of this, what happened is we got a bombardment of criticism and literally hate crap and stupid, irrelevant, fucking garbage. Okay. And we filtered through that. And what we found is within that crap, there's 2 or 3 key people. And bit by bit, we've been able to create new heuristics, new filters. And I think it's at a point now where we're ready for the go. So yeah, we are shutting the world down. That's literally, as far as I'm concerned, it's a done deal. However, the interpretation of that can be a little tricky for many of you. I'm quitting smoking, but you're going to see I'm going to smoke for quite a long time yet. It won't look like I'm doing anything different for quite some time. It's not that I'm quitting. It's that I'm having less and less time to actually indulge in it because I found other things that are starting to bring me to life, like give me what I'm looking for. There's still a lot of things lacking. Like right now, I'm out of beer. I got some in the hole in the ground out there. Again, I made a hole in the ground. It's my fridge. But the last time I did that, somebody pulled a chain onto my abode and covered it over, and I couldn't get to my food for quite some time until I dug it all out. Like, you can't have sabotage happening all the time. There's got to be some kind of respect for boundaries here, right? It does not apply everywhere. If you want to have a place where you can let your imagination run wild, I mean, it's not hard to live in harmony with nature. It's hard to have humans respect it. And that's my big problem right now. So if you can do anything to appreciate nature, you're helping me out in ways that you can't even imagine. So big shout out to the entire DevOps crew and the Anonymous crew, because I know some of you, but I know you all know me. And I want you to know that I think about you all, even though I don't know who you are yet. Quite often. A lot of the lessons you taught me in the past will stay with me forever. They're part of my soul. It's like a tattoo on my heart, as it were. Indeed, the things seen cannot be unseen or unlearned or unheard. And I've seen some visions of incredible things that go beyond what I learned when I was with the JWs way back in the day about their ideal of paradise, which honestly, on the surface, seemed not bad. But it wasn't enough for me to go, yeah, man. What I learned in DevOps is that there is already an existing world out there that is perfect as it is. What's not perfect is the way we're dealing with it. And I say we, because we are people, aren't we? Family of humanity, of Earth. I know I'm of Earth, but I'm not sure if I'm part of humanity. I know I act like it. Nature itself would swear that I am part of humanity, but my heart doesn't feel it at this point. I feel like I'm being rejected by Mother Nature, my own mother, as it were. It's that kind of a feeling when it comes to nature. I want to draw close. I want to understand. And I feel like my hands are tied behind my back a lot of the time. I'm being forced to headbutt nature instead of dancing with it. So when the city comes around to reinspect, I hope they're respectful. And I'd like the ombudsman to be here at the same time. In fact, more than one. I'd also like a group of friends and interested parties to also converge at the same time. And let's figure out what the fuck's happening here. A lot of unanswered questions at the camp that I'd like some resolve on. I never felt so close to being peaceful my entire life. I don't want to do anything to disrupt that at the same time. I don't want to do anything to jeopardize it, if you will, through neglect. When you know those things need to be dealt with, it's like if you're going to fix your, let's see, chain comes off your bike. I can sit and wish all day it would fix itself, but it won't unless I go over there, take the old chain off, figure out what's wrong with it, and then put it back on. Sometimes you got to pull the tire off and things like this. Like there's a process that must take place if you want XYZ to happen after ABC. So we do it. And no amount of positive thinking changes that, but feeling good can certainly motivate you. And having a reason to where you feel like others are working on the same project, where you're pulling together as a team. I mean, who of us likes to feel like we're a one-man show? Ever. If any of you do, put it in the comments, please, because that one, I'd like to find out how and why. Just, yeah. Well, we got garden growing, we got water problem, blah, 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 blah. Other than that, I don't think there's anything really happening. I got my e-bike, doing lots of kilometers, get my knees back together. I think we've covered everything. So with that, I hope your life gets better. I hope it does for everyone. No matter what problems you're going through. Although it always feels like we're alone for every one of us. I'm realizing as I get older and more experienced, we're never really alone. We're part of this. We're all interconnected. And your life matters. It matters to me. Namaste.